Hey, better? No, actually it makes it worse. Welcome to another weekend AMA. I am your host forever and always, Dylan Israel. I hope you guys are having a nice week. It's been a long week for me. It's just been one of those weeks that sort of dragged along, and here we are. It's the weekend now. It's been enjoyable. It's been an eventful week, a fun week. I'm just glad. I'm glad we made it, y'all. We've made it to the weekend, all right? Yeah, it's been good. You know, I'm not a religious man, but thank Jesus that we made it. I don't mean that offensively. So I want to talk a little bit about first off, thank you for showing up. Thank you for coming back. And shout out to our boys and girls, and I believe that's Austin, Texas. I got some good old hair going on here. But yeah, so thank you for coming back. If you haven't liked, subscribed, all that sort of stuff, please do in the future. Every week we're here to answer your questions, to shoot the shit, as the kids be saying nowadays, to throw it back. And I don't know what kids are saying nowadays. I'm 31 years old. I may wear gaming shirts and look like a child sometimes, but I am somewhat grown. I grew up when I got a mortgage, it turns out. So we are here to answer your questions. So while everyone's coming back in, I just want to talk a little bit about giving back to the open source community. And, you know, a lot of times as developers, we take advantage of the open source community. It's a good thing, and it's great that it's available for us. You know, open source allows a lot of us to do a lot of our work. It allows a lot of us to expedite things that aren't there. You know, it's one of the reasons I've become a developer, you know, yeah, and I've been able to be successful at my job is because there's great free tools and resources to make my job easy and convenient and efficient. And so open source is one of those things that should be celebrated and supported. And everyone has a different way of supporting open source, right? Some of you will actually do, you know, PRs on GitHub repos. Some of you will donate money. Some of you will donate time. The way that I like to support open source is with my time and energy and content, right? So like, even though I make a little bit of money on YouTube, the amount of time and energy I make by working on YouTube probably isn't all that high. And that's one way I support it. Another way I support it is by signing up on sites like code.org to mentor kids and talk to them about, you know, STEM. Usually it's STEM. They always use the word STEM. I really just there talking about one piece of engineering and technology, it's software. But we talk about kids about STEM. We are doing things like this, right? Like, you know, this isn't, this is a fun thing for me. I enjoy it, but I could be working on something that's going to maybe make me some money or increase a skill or something like that. The idea being that at the end of the day, I consider this a way of giving back as to the open source community to help those out, those people who have maybe helped me. And one such instance of that is recently, if you guys are subscribers to the FreeCodeCamp YouTube channel, you probably are because they have 800,000 subscribers. I couldn't even believe it when I saw it the other day. But on multiple occasions, I've had content on my channel where Bo, who is he sort of manages the FreeCodeCamp channel and very smart guy, individual, did his WGU software engineering degree in 6 months. Bless the man's soul, killing it, slaying it. So with that being said, he's reached out to me in the past, said, hey, you know, I would love to put your series, this, would you mind throwing your TypeScript course on here? Would you mind doing, putting your JavaScript thing on here? Cool. So just this week, he reached out and said, hey, I saw your Code Like a Pro series. I thought it was fantastic and be great for your audience, for our audience. Would you mind sharing that? That's an 11-part series that I worked on probably every weekend for about 11 weeks. I was putting out one of those about a week. And I was like, sure, no problem. Take the 2 hours of content that I grinded on and I put it out there to the world, right? And am I going to benefit a little bit? Yeah, I'll gain some subscribers and maybe a couple course sales. But part of that is I want to give back to FreeCodeCamp. I am a huge FreeCodeCamp fan. FreeCodeCamp is one of the main resources I use to teach myself how to become a developer, to teach myself the fundamentals of JavaScript, building projects, doing algorithms, and anything I can do to help support them in the fashion that I like to support through my time and my energy. I'm a little too selfish with my money. My money goes towards my future. My time and energy is now, and I'll give you now, but my future's for me. All right. So that's why I don't donate my money, but I do donate my time and energy, which is oftentimes going to have more value than my money. Right. And so I'm happy to do that. And I bring this up not because I want to be like, oh yeah, Dylan's so great, giving his 2 hours of content over to Codecademy. No, I want to tell you it's over there so you can go watch it. It's also on my channel. But I want you to go watch it because I think I'm a little bit biased, but I think that there's a lot of great tips for you guys to level up your code. I also think that it's important for you to be willing to make these sort of small sacrifices where you're helping the people who have helped you at the very least, right? At the very least, if there's an organization you've used as you've been coming up, that you've gone and you've done your best to help them out as they go about their journey and you go about your journey. And so as you continue to grow, as you continue to consume open source, make it a part of your mission and somehow to give back to the coding community and somehow to give back to the open source community. And in the long term, it's going to only benefit you. You'll only become a better developer. You'll only become a better person, probably. It's like that, take a penny, leave a penny. Every now and again, you got to leave a penny. All right. So I hope you guys are leaving pennies wherever you go. And not just taking. Because what happens when you take, you never have the benefit of giving and helping out those around you, right? So that's a little bit about what's going on today. I'll tell you a little funny story, though. I interviewed today. Or I should say interviewed. I had a phone call with a large coding platform to build some content for them. Some course videos, some topic videos, and it would have been great. It would have been great for both of us, good collaboration. And I think it's important. I'm not going to say the platform. Some of you can probably guess. I think it's important for people to understand that how important it is to build yourself up and not give that away. So although I would have excelled at this role and I would have loved to join it and sort of been under their umbrella to share with them and grow, one of the considerations, which was so absurd that someone would even say this, is that I could no longer be affiliated with any other coding platforms. So I wouldn't be able to put out any more Udemy courses. I wouldn't be able to partner up with Scrimba. I wouldn't be able to continue allowing my content to go on channels like FreeCodeCamp. It was one of those things. Oh, and like Skillshare and things like that. Anything that had anything to do with coding, because I would be under their thing that I couldn't do it. It was like, are you really out of your mind? The reason for that is the money I would have made from it. We didn't really get that far down the path, but I imagine it would actually have been less than my hourly rate. And on top of that, there is a much larger advantage to taking your time and energy and building passive income than there is for a one-time payment. And if anyone ever asks you to stop your side projects, you better be making sure that you're making enough money that that's going to make up for what you're doing. It is one of those things that I wanted to bring up, not just because I thought it was really humorous, and it sort of to a degree pissed me off that was even a conversation. Like, why did we waste my 15 minutes? But because you have to understand your future more than your present, and building passive income is one of the best things you can do. And one way that you can grow your salary, grow your career, is by building your brand and by building your growing yourself, really. People say building your brand. I don't really think I'm building a brand. I think I'm just building me. All I'm doing is putting myself out there and trying to be better, and people are realizing that, and it's helped me out in my career, and I've been able to do whatever I'm doing. And so I want you to realize that wherever you're at in your life, in your career, there are certain aspects like do I have to censor myself a little bit online because I work for corporations? Absolutely. And I think that's understandable. Now, if a corporation ever came to me and told me I had to stop doing the side projects that I was doing, I guess we're not working together. So I want you to keep that in mind, because I truly push side projects more than anything else, because at the end of the day, regardless of what company you work for, you're just another cog in the wheel. And until that company's your own, until you have your own sort of income coming in, all it is a job. Okay. And so understand that as you're putting time, effort, and energy in, you're doing it for someone else's benefit. Yes, you get a check. Yes, you're able to provide for your family, and that's important, which is why I do it. But at the end of the day, if things got bad and layoffs had to happen and people had to be cut, they'd cut you, no questions asked. And so that's why it's important for you to make sure that if/when that time comes in your career, that you're prepared, and it's not this stack of cards that just comes crumbling down. Anyhow, with that being said, a little fun side note on that, but I appreciate all of you. And what do we got for questions? Has anyone used Lighthouse? Yes, I've used Lighthouse for about a year now, give or take. I forget when they put it in the browser, but Barry, if you go to the audit tab, you can use Lighthouse there, and it's a great thing. Looking good, my first opinion. God damn, I know, right? look at this hair straight out of the shower. It's not combed or anything. I got that wild rustic look going on. I know. No. I'm a computer science student. Don't know anything. Please help. All right. Well, if it makes you feel any better, you'll be a computer science grad soon enough and still know nothing. But you'll be more hireable. I don't know if that helps at all. Hey, love your content, man. Just want to keep asking. HTML, CSS with a Bootstrap is enough to get a job to make money on the side. The short answer is probably not. The long answer is anything is possible. Internships might work out for you. It might be something to get your foot in a very, very, very minute internship at a web design place. Can you suggest some ways to generate passive income? Affiliate links, YouTube channel, blogs, write a book. Really whatever you're passionate about, just find a way to monetize it. That's what I always tell people is whatever it is that you're passionate about, find a way to make money with it. How would you approach searching for a job differently if you had a 4-year career? Well, for one, it'd be on my resume. So I would definitely have that on there. And if I had a good GPA, I'd put it on my resume. If I didn't, I wouldn't. I would focus on some of the technical skills and items that I've learned through my career and some projects. But that's honestly, it's not necessarily a good question for me to answer because I don't have a 4-year degree. But that would probably be one of the things. Those would be the only thing that come to mind. Struggling on getting that first job. I'm a 6-month boot camp grad in the Denver area. Is that shotgun approach to resumes the best idea or networking? You do both. That's the truth of the matter. You do both. So like you're gonna need to be shotgunning resumes out nonstop every single day, and I do mean every single day. You look at whatever areas you're interested in for that day. You apply to every single one, and then you also go and you network. You go to meetups. You go to hackathons. The hardest thing for you to do when you're starting your career is not the coding. It's the actual getting the first job. Is ES6 hard? I wouldn't say so. I would actually say it's relatively intuitive. I wish there was more Vue jobs. There's plenty of Vue jobs. As a matter of fact, there's a large shortage of Vue developers. Let me see if I remember the site real quick. If you want a job in Vue, go to VueJobs.com. I'm not an affiliate of them. I just happened to notice this on the Vue documentation site. And so this is a site that's specifically looking for Vue.js developers, VueJobs.com. VueJobs.com. You can get a Vue developer job today. Sound like a broken record. Would I prefer CSS Grid or Bootstrap? I prefer CSS Grid. I'm a big proponent of doing things natively over using frameworks when it makes sense. Bootstrap. So there's nothing wrong with Bootstrap as a CSS library, without a doubt. Hey, you want some default styles? You don't really care how it looks. You can use these component libraries like CSS Grid, or like Bootstrap or Angular Material. There's a ton, right? You got Vuetify. It goes on and on and on. My issue is that people then become reliant on Bootstrap and they don't ever actually learn how to do media queries. They don't ever actually learn how to do CSS Grid or Flexbox. And so the idea of frameworks is that eventually the language will pick and choose pieces of it where it makes sense. Bootstrap's grid system was used for a reason. It was because it's always been a pain in the ass to do responsive design. And then they released Flexbox, released CSS Grid to alleviate that. And now that that's there, you don't need to import this other library to do it. So you should handle it natively. Local demand is for WordPress, but I don't want to stop the FreeCodeCamp course. Look, guys, if you want to do WordPress, that's fine. But you're not going to be in very high demand, and you're not going to make very high money. Web dev space too saturated? I don't think so. I see Angular most indeed job threads. Is React more popular than Angular? I don't know. I haven't been following the market anymore. So like, I'm sort of at the point in my career when it comes to front end frameworks that I've proven myself. People will hire me for whatever role. Like my current role, I played around in Vue a little bit, but I don't have any professional experience. I got hired to be a Vue developer, and front end. I can work with whatever. Yeah, so the thing I always say about the web dev market and just software engineering in general is that there is not a shortage of developers. There is a shortage of good developers. So the average developer is hot garbage. My hope is that you will want to be something better than a polished turd. And so if you work hard, you will rise to the top of the pack with relative ease. How much do services like Wix take jobs from future web devs? I would say little to none. So I think sites like WordPress and Wix and things like that, they take these sort of mom and pop e-commerce stores, the things that can't really hire tech departments, and they don't really need anything custom for the most. This is generically speaking, but for the most part. So, at the end of the day, that is where those jobs are going. Like the people that have maybe restaurants or gas stations or a very small e-commerce store. I'm that 6-month bootcamp grad who just asked you, my finance and life are in very bad shape at this point. Do you really think I can get that job? I try to get better every day. I do. I would like to. I mean, I know you just said your finance is in bad shape. If you want to schedule a sort of mentoring thing, we can look at your LinkedIn, we can look at your GitHub, we can look at your resume, we can look at your portfolio, and we can see how we can improve upon it so that you can apply, and we can define a job strategy for applying. But honestly, one thing is that you should also open up your area. But it's going to be hard, man. There's no two ways about it. Getting your first web dev job sucks. Do I think I am in the top 10% of developers? Some days. Some days you're feeling great. You're like, dude, I'm killing it. Other days you're like, damn, man. You know, if there was a special class for developers, I might have made it today. Do I think I am better than the average dev? I would say yes. I think, but that's because I think I've interviewed enough developers to know that the average developer is bad. I would say for the average developer with 3 years experience, I'm probably much better than that. So let's put it that way. I've put in a lot of hard work and I'm continuing to get better. With that being said, just gotta get better, man. Every day, regardless of how good you think you are, stay humble, get better. I've been working on my first web dev job for about 6 months. I don't feel it's a good fit for me culture-wise or learning-wise. Is it too early to leave? Does that look bad on my resume? Look, man, it's going to take you a while to get another job. Start looking now, get everything together, apply. Just have just tell them the situation. Be like, look, I'm not learning anything. I'm a driven individual. It's not a good fit. I don't want to be here long-term. It just is what it is, and get a little raise in the process. What would you say is a better profession? Software engineering is better than every other engineering field there is in terms of salary, job growth, and amount of jobs. So you can look up the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. Do recruiters consider your recent GitHub history? Probably not most recruiters. Some do. And I would say probably the developers would just want to see what's on there. So it's just one of those things. What do you recommend for improving your CSS skills after FreeCodeCamp? Just challenge yourself, right? So if you're building animations, get comfortable with building some animations to your existing applications. If you never used CSS Grid, go and build something in CSS Grid. You never did Flexbox, just go and refactor stuff in Flexbox. Be like, all right, I built this out. It's responsive, but I use this technology. Let me take it from what it is and convert it over to this. Why did the one guy you interviewed with Microsoft say JavaScript isn't a big boy language? I think it's just a little bit old school thought. That's all. People are always going to hate on JavaScript. You can't let it get under your skin. What should the average developer 3 years should know? I guess it depends on what your specific niche is. What I would say is that at the end of the day, you should just make sure that the developer you are at 1 year is significantly better than the developer when you first started. Developer at 2 years, significantly better. Developer at 3 years, significantly better. And that could be in principles. That could be in technologies. That could be in design, like design principles. You just have to make sure you're significantly getting better. Yeah, so there's plenty of roles out there that you can play up if you're good at UI UX, and play that up in your application and your resume and build out some designs and things like that. In my earnings video, I think you're talking about how much money I make. You didn't mention if you had any bonuses along the way. Did you see any? I had at one job I got a $1,000 bonus. At another job I got a $3,500 bonus. Yeah, people, here's the thing. If you don't talk openly about money, you never get better with money. You never learn. You never understand your value and worth. And it's okay talking about money. It's not taboo. People want to act like it's this taboo thing. You know what money does? Money gives you options. Money allows you to take care of your family. Money allows you to put food on the table for your kids and plan for your retirement. Things like that. That's what money does. And if you don't take it seriously because you think it's this taboo thing and you can't treat it like an adult, you get in uncomfortable situations that's much more uncomfortable than just talking about money. Yeah. Do I use CSS Grid in production? Yes. There are certain aspects of CSS Grid that aren't supported by like IE and Edge, but most of it's supported by most browsers. Also, don't take browser compatibility as an absolute. Browser compatibility should be on a case-by-case basis. A good portion of your users may not use IE. You know, like those stats are available if you're following your analytics. What kind of side projects do you do to learn? It really just sort of depends what it is you're trying to do. Usually I'll rebuild. If there's like a technology I want to do, build something with, I'll rebuild something I've already done. So like I've built a quote generator, I kid you not, in vanilla JavaScript, maybe not vanilla JavaScript, jQuery, React, Angular, AngularJS, Angular, and Vue. I've built, oh, and Ionic. I've rebuilt a quote generator in that because it's a good thing. It shoots me, it gives me how to do iterations in the template, connect services, pass props, all those sorts of things. So I typically will rebuild that, and then I'll go build an application I want to build. What's my website again? Do you have one? I have one for the YouTube channel. I need to build one for me. If you go to codingtutorials360.com, that's the very first thing I ever built in AngularJS. The employers don't want you to talk about cash. That's fine. But legally, they can't stop you. So, you know. Have you always had the same amount of vacation days in your job, or some companies better than other ones? So I always ask for more vacation than what they offer. So typically I've been they like offer like 12 days or 10 days, and I'll always ask for a week more because that's ridiculous. So I always get around 3 weeks of vacation at any job I go to. How important was working at a good company and having good mentors for your evolution as a developer, especially from newbie to advanced? Absolutely crucial. My previous workplace made me twice the developer I was, and I count a lot of that. And it's not that you're not putting hard work in; it's that people are pointing you in the right direction. So you're surrounded by good people who can explain these concepts that maybe at first you don't even agree with, and then you realize, oh shit, you know, a couple days in, damn it, he was right. And then you go and get better and grow, and like you have someone just sort of guiding you. But you got to put the work in for that guidance to pay off, right? Do you think a good JavaScript developer can earn as much as a machine learning developer? Probably not in this market. A machine learning developer can get quite high. Like, if you want to go get a 50K pay raise, go into data analytics. Like, go into database management. Go into become a data scientist. I say it's a lot harder, but that's where. So like 5 years ago, all the top jobs were like full stack, front end, back end, and mobile. You know, it's much more software currently. And this is not to say that there's not a ton of demand in jobs. There is, but we're talking about like the top 10 jobs in the country. If you look at the top 10 jobs in the country, data science, like some aspect of AI, data science, like they're paying because there's just not enough people. Include whatever projects you can in your portfolio. As you get better projects, include those. Yeah. If I ever feel like I want to go get a 50 grand pay increase and realistically, if I actually thought I could get into data science, it'd probably take me 2 years. That would be what I would expect. I pick up Python proficiently and R proficiently. I would pick up SQL, godlike in SQL, legendary status in SQL. And then I would actually have to go learn some computer science fundamentals and mathematic fundamentals. That's what I would have to take. I got Connor and Connor vs. Cowboy. Actually, I don't know. I said that a little too confidently, but my gut is going towards Connor. This isn't kombucha. No, it is a 97% or 99% juice. It's like a green drink. So it's got cucumber, celery, grapefruit, green chard, green leaf lettuce, lemon, kale, a bunch of other crap. I had one this morning. I usually have one a day, but I'm drinking this because I wanted to do this live stream, but I hadn't had dinner yet, so I'm kind of hungry. Looks like I haven't been lifting. I've been slowly working out, but I haven't been stacking no gains. I'll tell you that much. I've been losing a little bit of weight. You know. Yeah, I'll be start benching them servers. Yeah, I don't know. I think so. I think the next big. This is something I haven't really talked about because it's not a reality yet. But one thing I think I want to do is I want to learn day trading. So I'm gonna build up probably a little bit of a bankroll around 10K. And then I'm going to start experimenting. And it will either be a $100,000 success or it'll be a $10,000 failure. But probably within the next 6 months to a year. By the end of this year, I will transition some of my learning that is software related into stock investments. Day trading will be a small aspect of it, but I do want to invest a little bit of money that way. Stocks are overvalued. I agree completely, which is why I will limit the amount of money that I'm going to start with while still saving up for a investment property. My hope is to be close to buying an investment property, a duplex, by the end of this year. What do I think of Ben Askren's UFC debut? Dude, that was a dope fight. It's unfortunate that I got a bad stoppage, but I enjoyed it thoroughly. Ben Askren came out there, got him. Robbie Lawler just picked him up, dropped him on his head, started beating the hell out of him. And like when he came to the ring before he even started, he had this prison murder face on. I was like, dude, Robbie is going in there and gonna kill some dude. It was so intense. I loved every minute of it. Yeah, I think Lawler would have gotten destroyed in the Bulldog choke, but you never know. You never know. It's unfortunate. It's too early of a stop, right? Should I start applying after I finish the front-end library section of FreeCodeCamp? Yes, but still continue to grow. It's never too early. It's never too early to apply. All they can say is no. That's it. So you can apply for internships. You can apply for junior level roles. Just keep applying, keep learning, keep changing that resume on LinkedIn. I was applying all throughout, like different parts of mine for internships. And it got, not only did I get interviews, I got to know how bad I was. I got to know where I stood. And I got to have an understanding of of what it is that was important to organizations. Yeah, and it's good, right? Like, one thing I tell people is start applying before you think you're ready, because then you get that experience. You get to work out some of those jitters. You get to sort of see where you stand, and you get to say, okay, I tanked the shit out of that interview. They were asking me about asynchronous JavaScript. I don't know anything about asynchronous JavaScript. Cool. Go and get it together. Go and learn it. And so the next time you go in the next interview, not only are you a better developer, you've taken time and it's like, cool, this is a core concept that I need to understand. Run off of it. Age discrimination, less prone by employees, 35 dudes fresh from full stack bootcamp. Honestly, everyone asks about age discrimination. Does it exist? It exists in everything. There's discrimination in everything. It is so hard to find good talent. I don't care if the dude's 70 years old. He shows up and blows my mind. Great. Get him on the team. You know? I got no problem. I don't care if you're 15. I don't care if you're 15. I don't care if you're 75. If you show up and you're killing it, whew, you know how many interviews I went through at my last job? I must have done 100 interviews last year. You know how many developers we hired? 0. It's not because we don't want to. It's you show up and you do the interviews and you're tired, you're drained because you need to hire people. You're hiring people because you have more work than you can handle. That's why you hire people. So you're overworked, you're tired. They show up and they bomb the interview and you're like, please, I want you to succeed. You have no idea. I want you to succeed more than you want to succeed because I'm dying over here. I'm dying. Please be able to do FizzBuzz. That's it. So what is good talent? It's so subjective. Yeah, it is. Do I need you to recursively write the Fibonacci on a whiteboard? No. Can you reverse a string? If I asked you to return, I want you to print out numbers evenly divisible by 11, and I give you a number and a function, print out numbers evenly divisible by 11, and you can't do it? Get out. Oh, man. It doesn't matter. I don't. Here's the thing. At a certain point, I don't care what your resume says. I don't care what projects you supposedly built. I don't care how you killed the phone interview. I don't care if you, and this, by the way, this situations we've all been in. I know I have. I don't care that you used to work at Google or LinkedIn. If you show up and you can't do a basic problem. I'm not talking about advanced problems. I tell you, take an array of numbers, add them all together. And you go, I don't really write for loops. What do? You can't hire that person. So now, without a doubt, there are harder technical interviews. Without a doubt. I'm telling you, in my experience, the bar at certain organizations, ones I've worked at, ones I haven't, are not unrealistic. They are completely fine, and I think it is a standard interview process. you know, especially if a take-home project, you have a take-home project in the framework, in that, not anything, any abstract, like, hey, build this Angular app, it's going to take you 2 hours. That's a gimme. That should be a gimme. This should be something that you kill, and then you submit something that barely works after 3-4 days. There are hard places, right? Microsoft was the hardest interview I ever did. 8 interviews, about an hour apiece, and about 3 algorithms in pretty much every single one. You're drained by about the second interview. You know, there are harder organizations. The majority of organizations that aren't a top tech company are going to have realistic things. They want to hire people, and you know, as you move up in your career, you're going to be asked questions like that less and less. When I interview for roles, I don't usually get whiteboard problems anymore. You know what they give me? They ask me in-depth questions. We can have a conversation of, they say, hey, you know, here's this situation. How would you connect to this service? Okay, well, in an Angular application, the dependency injection is really nice. What I would do is I'd use the dependency inversion principle, and I'd build an interface that we could inject into our actual service, into our service where we have our main instantiation. The module in Angular would then go and inject the actual dependency, and that way we can connect our mock, which we'll use for testing. We'll then transfer that and inject it into our component. You know, you can have these conversations where, all right, this guy knows something. But my point being is that I now, for the most part, will get asked higher level questions. It's not, you know, you do have whiteboard problems, that's fine, it happens, whatever. How should I go about learning Java? Build things, solve algorithms. That's how you're going to have to get comfortable. Shout out to our friends from Finland. Yeah, it was 8 interviews. It was exhausting, man. One of those is a lunch interview. In fairness, you get a break and you're sitting there and people are, you know, you're talking to a manager sort of situation. But like 3-4 hours in, you're like, oh my goodness. It was exhausting. Should I take Stephen Grider's algorithm course? You should take as many courses as you need to keep getting better. How long does a typical coding interview last? It varies by organization. Usually no longer than an hour. Is it awkward to have your manager staring at you while you eat? I don't know. I went to lunch pretty much every single day at my last job with my manager. Why do you think you didn't get the Microsoft job? Some of the algorithms I didn't do all that great on. So I would say I probably batted a 2 out of 3 or a 1 out of 2 on solving the algorithms. Some of them I got stuck on. Some of them, they wanted me to solve them in a very particular order. So even though it was a front-end role, most of these guys have like PhDs that I talked to in computer science. So the fact that I couldn't solve algorithms in a breadth-first sort of fashion or a binary search tree or a binary search fashion, that bothered them quite a bit. And I told them that wasn't my forte, and you don't really use those in the front end, but that's what they found important, and I think that's probably why, if I had to guess. When did I start coding? Around 25. Do they farm these interviews out to agencies or prefer to see people? I mean, my interview with Microsoft was in person with the Microsoft developers. Yeah, it wasn't that hard of an interview. It's just like, dude, I haven't used algorithms in 3 years at this point since I was in college. I don't know. I work in the front end. I don't work with anything that requires algorithms. And so at some point I memorized that for a class, and now I don't use it ever. So it's not something I readily have available. And that's okay. If I was a backend dev, I'd have to go and continue to do that because, as you're manipulating the queries, that's important, right? The server time is going to cost time and money. And, if you have that much data on the front end, hopefully you don't, that, you shouldn't be worried about shouldn't be necessarily worried about the most proficient thing. Not to say that you shouldn't write effective code, but not to that extent. I would have loved to work for Microsoft. They messed up not hiring me, man. Anytime a company doesn't hire me, look, you can say I'm full of myself. You can say whatever you want. But if you interview me and you don't hire me, you messed up. Like, let's get that right. I know how much I'm worth. You want a front-end dev? You want someone to come in there who not only can do their job with little or no help. You want someone who can write testable code. You want someone who can communicate with the business, isn't afraid of standing up for the code base and speaking up and just all around being a team player. That's me. I know where I stand. And so if you interview me and you decide that I'm not right for your organization, you messed up. Yeah. How much I know about design? Little to none. That's actually one of the areas I sort of need to dive into a little bit. UI UX would be something that would be nice to have as front end dev, but it's definitely not a requirement. But there's plenty of roles that want to do it. So, like I've been thinking about picking up. I've been thinking about picking up some side projects on on Upwork, and I actually got interviewed by Google to do some contract work with those guys for something. I can talk about it. I don't know if it's happening or not, but they wanted a front end dev that had a little bit more UI UX experience that could design in that experience. And that happens sometimes where they want to sort of merge the roles. It's not something I really have, unfortunately. I recently got to an interview for a tech role. And they asked me to do an IQ test. I told them, no, I won't do this. I know I am smart and I know my value. I mean, I would do an IQ test. Those are usually somewhat simple. I've done those sorts of tests before. You call me an idiot? I don't need to do this IQ test. Aren't IQ tests illegal? Do you think in those big companies you might get more overworked? I think it's up to you as a professional. Part of it is putting your foot down and being like, look, I'm putting in the time. When I'm here, I'm putting time in. I'm knocking projects out. I'm killing it. All right. So I plan on doing 40 hours a week. If I mess up, I'll put in some extra time here or there, but that's not usually the case. Not to say that I don't make mistakes, but oftentimes it's unrealistic expectations. You can't do anything about unrealistic expectations. As a matter of fact, when you try to meet unrealistic expectations, you cause more issues for yourself than good. And 90% of the time, you're not delivering anything that's gonna if I don't deliver this project by this date that someone who's not writing the code decided upon, guess what? No one's going to die 9 out of 10 jobs. Probably 99 out of 100 jobs. So what you have to do is say, look, I can't do this. What I can do is this. Meet me here, and let me tell you why. Because when you then want the next iteration, we don't have a code base that's a jumbled mess. We don't have a piece of code that is hard to work with, that we broke all these principles, and we don't have the tests written to go with it, and now we're causing more issues down the road. So it's hard to get the business to see that. But as a professional, as the software engineer professional, you're the only one that can do it. You're the only one that can say, look, no. It's okay to say no. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. No one's ever saying no. Was ever a fun experience. Your boss walks up to you and says, hey, man, I need you to work this weekend. You say, I'm sorry. I got plans. It's not my fault that the business took 9/10 of the time to make a decision and left us with 1/10 of the time to implement it. All right. It's not my fault that we said it was going to be 3 months. They gave us 6 weeks. I'm sorry, but I got plans, right? I got family. I got life. Stick up for yourself. It's okay. It's okay to stick up for yourself. Because you know why? Because nobody else is going to do it. Nobody else is going to be like, yo, stop picking on Dylan over there and get in and work every weekend. No, it's got to be you. What do you think about Liz Warren break up these tech giants? I haven't heard that. I don't even want to get started, though. Yeah, but what if they just fire you? They're not going to fire you. They're not going to fire. First off, please, I wish you would. All right. If you're going to fire me because I am telling you that unrealistic expectations can't be met, I am telling you that we need to protect the code because it is for the greater good of what the organization wants. And they say, get it done or get out. You know what? I'm going to get out. I'll be honest with you. I've been put in that situation one too many times already. I'm going to work hard. Yeah, occasionally, because look, man, we got to put a little bit extra time in for the next 2 weeks. Fine. When it's the exception and not the norm, that's okay. It happens every now and again. I'm not an unrealistic individual. I'm a salaried employee. When it becomes the absolute norm, like it is in the gaming industry, people ask me all the time, hey, man, you ever think about doing game development? Yeah. Before I realized how bad it was. So, with that being said, they fire you, go collect your unemployment, go get another job. There's plenty of jobs out there, and it's up to you to respect yourself enough to stand up for yourself. Do I ever use .NET for anything? I use it occasionally at work. Do I still have aspirations to make it to a notable big company? Or do you not mind since your pay is roughly the same? I mean, it'd be cool. I'd like to go work for a large corporate company like a Google or a Facebook or Amazon or Microsoft, but I don't know. Right now, my aspirations are investment properties. So, and unfortunately, a lot of those large corporate companies are in areas that are costly, right? New York, San Francisco. Did you guys just see the article that low income in San Francisco for a family of 4 is considered $117,000 a year? Do you imagine making $117,000 a year and be considered poor and broke? It's crazy. And the average 1-bedroom apartment in San Francisco is $3,000. People ask me all the time, Dylan, why don't you go take a job at one of these big tech companies in SF? Yeah, because they're not going to pay me enough. I'd rather make I'd rather go live in like Tampa. You know what my mortgage is here? I pay $1,880, $275 of that is private mortgage insurance. You know what this house in SF would cost me? Like $3 million. It's absolutely insane. I can buy 10 houses for what it would cost me in SF. And also, here's another thing. We were talking earlier about passive income. So when you have passive income, the reason that people feel like they could be bullied, and because that's what's happening. When your boss comes to you every week, says you got to work late, you got to do this, and you're getting slammed for 6 months straight, nonstop, you know what's happening? You're being bullied. You're being bullied in a corporate environment. That's all it is. And so you are essentially, sorry, I'm getting a little hot in here. You're essentially become a yes man because it's uncomfortable to stand up to the bully. Not to say it's always your boss's fault. Usually it's he's being bullied. The bullying goes downhill is how it works. And so if you have other money out there where you're not living paycheck to paycheck, you got money in the bank, you got passive income coming in, you're financially secure. Then you know what? Fire me for having a backbone and for standing up for the long-term vision. Because I've done it. I've been like, yeah, man, yeah, no problem. Yeah. Then 6 months later, you're like, where am I? I am awful. I can't do this anymore. You're tired. You're miserable. You're getting in fights with your significant other. You're covering up. You got a side chick. No, I'm just kidding. I'm working late, baby. No, that's a joke because my girlfriend watches these streams. So what I'm trying to say is that when you have financial security, not including your workspace, not including, you have there's less risk. You're less scared. So when you do have your mortgage paid off, or you do have investment properties that bring in some money, when you do have a YouTube channel bringing in money, and you do have other opportunities that are coming in, good. You should have those anyhow. And if that gives you a little bit extra oomph, knowing that, you know what, I'm not going to be homeless in 2 weeks. I'm not going to be homeless in 2 months. I could grind it out for a year if I had to. Good. A front-end developer deals with the user interface, which would be like anything you see in the window, while the backend delivers the data. And so the backend will store data in databases and manipulate it. If I would start my career today, would I start with an internship or freelance? I'd start with an internship. I think although I started freelance, that's because, well, that's what I needed to start with. I would have learned more in an internship than I did as freelance. It's the first time watching live chat, welcome. By the way, guys, if you could please like the video and hit that notification bell, that would be appreciated. So not only can you be notified when I go live or I release new content, which I'm releasing 2 videos a week of hot fire, but other people can find the channel as well. And if you haven't subscribed, please do that. Do you think you would have found the same level of success if you had stayed in California? Potentially. I think one of the reasons I was able to get a job earlier in my career is because I did leave California. I would say that even if I was making the same amount of money in California, it wouldn't have allowed me to buy a house. Or never have bought a brand new house in California if I made the money I make now. It's not even close. So But anyhow, guys, so that's about our hour today. As always, it's fun. It's enjoyable. I will see you next week. Look forward to videos coming soon, dropping that hotness. As I mentioned, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you're interested in any of my courses or the books and things that I recommend, in the description below, you can get them with discounts, things like that. I appreciate you all. I'm going to go have some dinner, and then I'm going to work on a free 2 to 3 hour course I plan on releasing for you guys this next week. So look forward to that. I'm hoping to get it done this weekend. I'm going to make a detailed course around asynchronous JavaScript, I think, and give it out for free. So with that being said, see you guys next time. Bye.